Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today, I am tackling a video that has been requested off and on for years, and now we're finally gonna do it together. That is, what are the best fragrances that you can possibly wear to your wedding? As I said, we're gonna do this together because I enlisted your help. I asked you guys on the community tab of the YouTube channel, what do you think is the best men's fragrance for your wedding day? You gave me your answers. And I'm also gonna give you some of my opinions along the way to hopefully help you figure out what you should wear on that special day. All the scents that I talked to you about here today are gonna be linked in the description below. Feel free to check them out down there. Let's get started with Nixgan 6444, who says, gonna be Xerjoff Naxos. Just classic. Now, in case you're unaware of this fragrance, it is a niche scent. That means it's gonna be a little more exclusive than your typical designer fragrance, but it's also gonna be a little more expensive than your typical designer also. And if you buy this nowadays, it will come in a different bottle style. This is the old style. They don't make them like this anymore. They have a new look to them. Xerjoff kind of went through and refreshed pretty much all of their presentations at one point years back. So Naxos, this one is a tobacco scent, a really popular tobacco fragrance in the niche world because it has great versatility and a good complement factor also. So you get kind of a sweet tobacco leaf in here, but also some aromatics. You have lavender as well. So that gives it a classy edge, as Nixgan brought up. One thing that I will say about this one though, is that it is better suited for fall and winter time. You could also maybe stretch it out, use it in spring as well. But if you're gonna be having a wedding in the middle of summer, especially if it's gonna be like outdoors and it's gonna be really hot, potentially humid, something like that, which I don't know why you do that. That actually seems like a not great idea. But if you do, then this may not be a great choice. Now, if you're getting married somewhere where it's gonna be air conditioned, then none of that matters. But if you're gonna be somewhere where it's really hot, then maybe go something different. But that is a great choice. The next fragrance comes to us from Fonzie2420, who says, some great options to go with, but I would have to lean towards Reflection Man. As a groom or guest, it just fits the occasion like a glove. And this one got brought up a bunch. This might actually be the fragrance that was brought up the most if you go through all the different comments on there, which that's still up on the channel. So feel free to go and read through if you want. But Reflection Man came up a lot. And like Naxos over here, it is another niche fragrance, so it's gonna be a little bit pricier again than your normal designer. And there were a good amount of niche fragrances chosen by you guys, and it makes sense why, because they're more expensive, they are generally held as being of a higher quality. Now, of course, maybe there are some designers higher quality than some niche, but in general, and because of that exclusivity that these have, they have like a little specialness built into them for a lot of people. And so special day, special fragrance, that's why. Now, Reflection Man is really classy. It's elegant. It's a white floral fragrance, or white floral forward. And for a while, it was kind of viewed as being a niche, higher end take on a fragrance like the original Jean-Paul Gaultier L'Homme. So while it's not the exact same as the original L'Homme, kind of in that wheelhouse, and as far as fresh fragrances from this house goes, this is the one that seems to appeal to the most people. Before we hop to the next scent, here are some codes you can use at different websites to save yourself some money. So if we're talking niche fragrances, that's gonna be Twisted Lily and Max Aroma. Also, you're gonna be able to find some niche at fragrance discounters like fragflex.com. So use those codes to save money at those sites. And then for more affordable fragrances, designer fragrances, and also clone fragrances, you'd wanna check Fragflex, Triple Traders, and also the Perfume Box. All right, let's keep it going. Next up, we have Icaro 001. I'd love to go with YSL L'Homme EDP Parfum. Very classy, elegant, subtle, but pleasing. And this is a really good choice because when it first came out, it seemed like not a whole lot of people were crazy in love with it, but as time has gone on, more people have been able to sample this and wear this, and it's carved out its own little niche in the designer world. It has a nice little bit of freshness off the top. You've got bitter orange in there along with bergamot, so a nice citrus opening. Lavender as it dries down, gonna keep it very masculine, classy. And then in the dry down, you have woody notes, actually oak in there, gives it a very slight smoky touch and some booziness as well, which is gonna help with that warmth and sweetness. As he says, elegant, subtle, but pleasing. It's not a really loud fragrance, but to be fair, I think that going with an overly loud fragrance is not really the right move. And you could say that about a lot of different situations that you find yourself in, that if you're gonna be on one of the sides of the extremes, you know, a little subtle or very loud, that most situations being a little more subtle, probably the better move. But especially if we're talking about at a wedding, you really, in my opinion, would be better served not to have a fragrance just smashing people over the head. Having something a little more refined, something a little bit classier, a little bit more subtle is going to work a lot better with the atmosphere and with what you're wearing. Talking about your suit. I would rather have that than a fragrance that's like a 15 out of 10 in terms of performance, something that's just choking people out, including your partner that you're getting married to. Don't do that. It's just, ugh. First dance and they're just like, you like my fragrance? I did 25 sprays. Can you tell? Eden BRZ95 says, I wore Davidoff's Cool Water to my wedding. I now own Green Irish Tweed from Creed and would have definitely rocked that instead. So Cool Water was done by the same perfumer that did Creed's Green Irish Tweed, and they do have quite a lot of similarities, the two fragrances. Obviously Cool Water, way cheaper. So Green Irish Tweed is gonna be a little bit richer, it's gonna have more depth to it, and it does smell like the more expensive fragrance. That being said, Cool Water, for a lot of people, gonna get the job done just as well. Creed fragrances are very expensive, so there is that. And Cool Water, actually, a really nice choice. For the price point, it still gets the job done during spring or summer. You're gonna smell great with this stuff on. There's also, nowadays, more alternatives to Green Irish Tweed, you know, stuff like Armani Reflection Man, for example, which is also very cheap and smells similar to Green Irish Tweed, or you could just go with the Creed if you've got the money. But it's a good choice. Yomer Sanchez 4575 says, Prada L'Homme Intense. Trust me, for one of the most important days in your life, you want to remember that unique, classy, and elegant scent you wore that day. This one has iris, amber, tonka, and leather as some of the notes in the fragrance. And this is gonna be another one that is more fall, winter centered. Middle of summer, if you're going to be somewhere very warm, maybe go with something else. Air conditioned, it don't matter. It is absolutely all the things he said. Classy, elegant, and decently unique also. Quality is very good. I think this is the best in the Prada L'Homme line. It has been a little difficult to find in the US. Prices have gone up, and actually for a while there, you couldn't find it, period, at discounters. It was just gone. But as of when I'm shooting this video, you can find it at discounters once again. It's just not really discounted anymore because Prada doesn't care about the L'Homme line. So yeah, you're looking at probably 130, 140, something like that right now, but you don't have it. I think it's worth that price, especially if we're talking for a wedding. Up next, we have Abdella AB1, who cheated a little bit and gave us two. For cold winter days, I would go for Gentleman Eau de Parfum. For hot or warm summer days, day or night, I would go for Percival, because I think it's fresh, clean, and classy at the same time. To be fair, he does bring something up here, which is something I've talked about a little bit, and that is a lot of it's gonna be dependent on the time of year and where you're going, what you're doing. So if it's cold outside, something like Gentleman Eau de Parfum is gonna make more sense, because that one is bold, it's rich, it has a very prominent iris note, extremely classy, gentlemanly, as you would expect from a fragrance named Gentleman. But if it's in the middle of summer, that's not gonna work very well. That's gonna be a bit much. It's gonna be cloying, it's just not gonna match. Percival would make more sense. Percival actually has a bit of a similarity to Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. So if you're familiar with Fierce, but you've never smelled that, it's kind of similar. Also Mont Blanc Legend, because Mont Blanc Legend is also kind of similar to Fierce. A popular style. Obviously, Percival is going to be more luxurious when compared to Fierce. It's not quite as youthful smelling, but it still has a nice fresh and sweet balance. And Percival is actually a huge compliment puller as well. Now, I'm not saying you're going into your wedding trying to get a whole bunch of compliments. That's not what I'm saying. But it doesn't hurt to have something that is very appealing to the overwhelming majority of people. Again, it's just kind of completing the whole package is what you're looking to do. And so when you have something that most everyone's going to like, that's just going to elevate your whole appearance even more. Up next, we have QN, who says, hundreds of comments, yet no one even mentions anything from Guerlain L'Homme Ideal. Most mainly mentioning loud and obnoxious fragrances. It'll be especially sickening for the significant other who literally has to be at your side the whole time smelling a heavy scent. Yep. You want to keep that in mind. Like I said, if you have a strong fragrance, that's cool if that's what really works for you, but maybe don't go super heavy. You don't want to have a fragrance on that's very loud, very aggressive, and then on top of that, you spray it on really heavily also. Especially because if you're at a wedding and you're doing a lot of dancing and going around doing this, that, and the other thing, you could get your body heat up a little bit, and then that fragrance is gonna project even further. And then it's really gonna be something. So L'Homme Ideal, you have the entire lineup. This is just the original, but a lot of these would work very well. And it's gonna be dependent, again, on the time of year and the temperature. So I might go for something like a Platine Privé. You know, it's a little bit on the fresher side, but then it has a nice vetiver as it dries down. But if it's cool outside, maybe you go with something like the original L'Homme Ideal, or you go with the Eau de Parfum, for example, or the new Parfum. But a really good line that would work pretty much across the board. Matthew WU 4311 says, Armani code Parfum. Just keeping it real short and sweet there. And that one's a good choice. Code Parfum would absolutely work. And that one I think you can use pretty much year round, because in the opening, it's nice, it's fresh, it's inviting as it dries down, it's very classy. Once again, another fragrance with iris in there, but it's not as makeup-y as the other ones that have come before it that have iris. Those can be a little bit creamier or powdery, depending on which one we're talking about. The iris in here is not quite as far down that path. And just like the original Armani code, another one that's a big people pleaser, a really nice choice. Great elegant evening scent in general. Skate Girl Dex 11 says, my answer, whenever this question pops up, always has been and will be Aventus. And to be fair, I mean, yeah, that's probably the easiest go-to fragrance to tell somebody, because it doesn't matter what time of year it is. It could be fall, winter, spring, summer, Aventus will work. Daytime, nighttime, doesn't matter. Aventus will work. As far as that mass appeal, that versatility, Aventus will work. The only thing that you could say about this is it is pricey. Ooh, it still smells good. I have smelled it 52 million times at this point, between the original and all the other fragrances that smell similar to it, both niche, designer, and clones. I've smelled a lot of Aventus and Aventus type stuff out there, but it still smells good, like really good. So yeah, that's the only drawback. It's expensive, but if you don't have Aventus money, you can get fragrances that smell similar to Aventus for a lot less. Some of the more popular ones are gonna be Mont Blanc Explorer. That would be an okay choice. Club de Nuit Intense Man, I think the opening is a bit harsh for a wedding type situation, but as it dries down, it's really appealing to a lot of people. Pretty strong though, so make sure you don't spray too much. Then if you wanted to go a little more expensive, but not quite Aventus expensive, you could get something like Hassabat from Nishan. Now, if you want to go even more expensive though, our guy Key Sense 223 has one for you. Creed Spice and Wood all day. This is very expensive. At retail, this bottle right here, $610. I mean, to be fair, I guess, you know, it's your wedding, it's a special day, but that's a lot of money. I've seen this one pop up at discounters, and it's still expensive there. I think it was like $480 or something like that. So less than $610, but it's still crazy expensive. Now, price out of the way though, this is a perfect choice for a wedding. It's very elegant. It's not that loud, but it comes across very rich, very sophisticated, very gentlemanly. The woods here, super smooth. The spice, not aggressive. The opening has a little bit of fruit. It smells great, super appealing. Again, very smooth. It smells absolutely divine, like really good. If you're looking for a bit of like a classic masculine scent, done in a modern way with extremely high quality ingredients, but holy crap is it pricey. Now I also want to bring up that Great Vetiver, YSL Tuxedo, Dior Homme Parfum, those were mentioned a good amount as well, and there are a lot of other very good choices. But I want to finish with this one from William Miller NR5GD, who says her favorite one is the best choice. And I think that This really is the most important thing to take away from this. It doesn't actually matter what other people might say is the best choice for your wedding. If you have a particular fragrance that really makes you happy, that is your signature scent that gives you confidence, you should probably wear that. Or if there's a particular fragrance that is your significant other's absolute favorite, I would wear that. Because a fragrance obviously doesn't really make or break a wedding at all, or it shouldn't, I would hope not. But it can help really put those memories into your mind, kind of like somebody that wears a fragrance on vacation. Like a particular fragrance for a particular vacation. If you kind of make that mind memory connection, then even years down the road, you might smell that fragrance and then remember, oh yeah, that vacation, and I did this and that and this and that, and it comes flooding back to you, which is not always necessarily positive. There are times that you might smell something and it reminds you of an ex, for example, and you go, oh, get out of my brain. But we're gonna keep everything very happy, sunny here and think about the wedding as a really positive experience. So I would wear something that either my significant other loved, that I knew they loved, or my signature scent. The thing that, again, gives me confidence, makes me happy, and wear that. I mean, I would still take into consideration how many sprays I'm doing, because obviously not all fragrances are the same as far as how strong they are, but that's what I would do, because I feel like that's the best way to go about it. It's not necessarily as important as, if I say, hey guys, Aventus is the absolute #1 best wedding fragrance. That may be so for a lot of people out there, but if your favorite scent or your significant other's favorite scent is something totally different, I would wear that, yeah. So there we go, guys. Perfect fragrances for your wedding. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.